Okay, hi guys, and welcome to today's show. Now, of course, before we start the video, I should announce the winner of the SKX009, the World Tour competition, which I held, I think it was about a week ago or so. But anyway, so this is the video in question. A little sneak peek of my wristwatch check. Yes, I'm wearing the Speedy. I must be crazy, even considering letting this one go. Just look at that pure class. Look at that. Anyway, this is rather surreal because I'm looking at a view of my desk while looking at a view of my desk. Yeah, a little bit weird. But anyway, I can't even remember the questions. I think it was one. What was the statue I sat under when I first moved to Florence? Was the first question. And what was the two features that made the Baume and Mercier watch that I reviewed with Federico unique? And the third question was, what was it? It was, oh, I'm losing my mind now. What was my #1 thing for daily happiness and fulfillment in that particular video? So let's have a look at the answers. Of course, the first person to get it right, if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, wow, so many comments. Who was first? It was Reese. So Reese Gordon, you are the winner. 1 week ago, you got it absolutely spot on. Fibonacci sequence, yeah, and the jump out. Those are the two unique features. Niccolo Machiavelli, and of course doing a selfless act every day. So well done, Reese. Congratulations. You in the SKX, which I will send off to you. Just email me and let me get your address as soon as possible, because I plan on going to the post office tomorrow, if not the day after, but I will get it out to you. Now, of course, there was a ton of entries, so I'm going to pick a few at random. I'm going to stop here. And who is this? Ian Muller. Email me, please, and I will send you a runner-up prize. Let's pick somebody else. Let's go with Switching Gears. Switching Gears, email me. I'll send you a little runner-up prize. The runner-up prizes will not be what I wish I could send everybody an SKX, but it would just be a little surprise just for taking part. Let's do one more runner-up. Sam. Okay, let's go, Sam. Here we go with the picture of Steve McQueen there. Correct, correct, and correct. Yep, so those are my 3 runners-up. Please email me and I'll get a little prize out to you. And of course, Reese Gordon, please contact me and I will get that SKX out to you as soon as possible. So congratulations, thank you for everybody taking part. What a fantastic, really fantastic result. Congrats again to Reese. So let's now roll the intro and get on with today's video. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today, something of a chronograph watch special. In just a moment, we're going to be reviewing the lovely little Seagull, the 1963, and of course that gorgeous blue Sinn 103 that I've been obsessing about ever since it came out. So I'm very, very thankful to both Long Island Watches and my good friend Troy for lending those in. Thank you so much. Now, before we get into those, I should do a wristwatch check. I am indeed wearing my little Flightmaster. If you guys remember a couple of videos back, I was contemplating selling this. I'm still not decided, but a part of me, and the stronger part of me, is starting to think it's absolute lunacy. It's just such a classy piece. I've had it from new. I want to stick to what I said, and that is enjoying it from new. I think the thing is, I'm not wearing it enough. So as we're doing a chronograph special today, I had to put it on. It's just such a classy piece. There is one unmistakable thing about this watch, and that is its good taste. It's like a Palladian style facade of a building, or a Corbusier house, or an Eames chair. It is just good taste. That is undeniable. It's just so classic. I think I need to give it a bit more attention. It's difficult. My watch collection has exploded. I need to bring it down a little bit because honestly, seller's remorse or you know, the regret of selling it, I just think will be too much for me to bear, you know, especially as I had it from new. I seldom buy watches from new, well, luxury ones at least. Oh god, it is a stunning piece. I mean, I stand by everything I've said about it. I think I'm getting a bit of speedy fatigue, if there's such a thing. But anyway, enough of babbling and rambling about my dear old little Speedmaster. I mean, it is, come on guys, it is absolute pure class. I'm going to think about it for another month at least. So anyway, without further ado, let's change perspectives and take a look at these equally classy chronographs from two polar opposite sides of the pricing spectrum. Anyway, so yeah, let's change perspectives and take a closer look. On the right here we have the Sinn 103 ASAB, and this was lent in very generously by my good friend Troy. So a massive thank you to Troy, and this is a really limited edition, only 500 made in the world. So I don't think we've had a watch that has been made in such a limited quantity as this particular watch. So something very, very special indeed. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. And then of course the other opposite end of the spectrum, a lot more affordable. I think the Sinn, I can't remember the retail price, but we're talking several thousand. I think around about the $3,000 mark. I might be wrong, but of course, good luck trying to find one of these. There was one for sale by my good friend Dimitri, who recently decided to sell his on Facebook, but I'm sure that's been snapped up already, just because of the rarity of this particular watch. Anyway, so, and then of course on the left we have this gorgeous little retro piece. This is the Seagull 1963. This one retails, I think, is about around about $350. So remarkable price difference, but very unique in its own right, with some extremely special features which we'll go into in just a moment. So first of all, I'll talk about the little Seagull 1963 first. Now, as you can see, it's got a really kind of mid-century styling to it, and that's very deliberate. It's an actual re-release of a classic Seagull that was released way back in 1963, as the name suggests. And as a kind of 50th year anniversary, they re-released it again in 2013. Now there is several versions, and I've got to say massive thank you to Long Island Watches for lending this in for review. They carry the entire line, and there's the 42mm version, and this is the 38mm version. This is actually the sapphire crystal. So we have this slightly domed, beautiful sapphire crystal. There is the acrylic, and the acrylic I think is about $50 less. I might be wrong about that. There's a beautiful display back. So just to go over the basic specs here, we'll get the dimensions out of the way. As I said, this particular one has a diameter of 38mm, and I must point out there is sellotape on my calipers, so it's not going to damage the watch. A thickness of 13.5. Lug to lug we're looking at 46, and they have extended the lugs quite a bit to try and make this wear a little bit larger. Lug width, we're looking at, well, it's an 18mm lug width. So it comes on this beautiful olive native strap, just with a plain polished buckle. Inside we have the Seagull ST19 movement, which is basically a Venus 175. And Venus was a big watch manufacturer way back in the day. They were operational mainly in the 50s and 60s. They closed down and they sold all their machinery off to China. And Seagull bought it and started producing their own version of the Venus 175. And that is the Seagull ST19, which is what you see here. It's a phenomenal movement, it really is. Obviously this is a manual wind, has a really nice feeling to the crown when you wind it. And as you can see, it's quite a complicated thing. Now, you've got to remember, this was made before computer-aided design, so it was pen and paper, extremely skilled watchmakers. Let me just get the pencil in here. And you do have blued screws. Now, I've got to point out, this is lacquered blue paint. They're not actually blued in the traditional way. You've got to remember, and this goes for the same, that blued hands on the dial. To get the bluing effect, you have to heat the steel to a very specific temperature. It's very labor intensive. It's a complicated process. It's not cheap to do. So what they've done, they've just painted it, and at first glance you don't really notice. It's only until you really look at it carefully that it doesn't have that equal that equal hue of blue that is so recognizable with quality bluing. But nonetheless, it's very pretty to look at. We can see all the synthetic jewels. This, of course, is a 21 jewel movement, has a 45-hour power reserve. It operates at 21,600 vibrations per hour. Extremely complicated. I mean, guys, you got to remember, chronograph is the second most complex movement to make after a tourbillon, obviously, and so to get this kind of a watch with this kind of complicated mechanical movement is quite phenomenal, especially at this price. We have this sapphire display back with Chinese characters running around the outside, and then of course 1963. Very, very nicely done with a screw down case back. We got a water resistance of 30 meters. Now look, let's have a look at this beautiful dial. We have gilt applied numerals 12, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, and then in between we have these lovely little gold markers. Absolutely gorgeous. We have this cream, off-white cream dial, just with a very simple minutes running around the outside. Very tastefully done. It's so understated, so modest, but very retro. Has that strong vintage appeal, and I almost would say to get the acrylic, because you need to scuff it up a bit. It needs a bit of wear and tear to kind of complete the vintage look of it. Well, that's just my opinion, but absolutely gorgeous. Then we have the red star, of course, the most iconic symbol of China, undoubtedly, and then some more Chinese characters towards the 6 o'clock position. I believe is Seagull in Chinese. I might be wrong about that, but guys, correct me if I'm wrong. And then we do have a very nicely machined signed crown. So it's a bicompact. So we've got the seconds of the main clock on the left, and then on the right we have the minute register, 30-minute subdial for the main chronograph. So let's actually engage the chronograph. We really do have very solid feeling click to that. Quite remarkable at this price range, you know. And what's great about the display back is that you can, I should have left this off really, but I did this in the unboxing, guys. You can really see if we stop the chronograph, this top pusher is obviously stop and start, but if we stop the chronograph, we can see the column wheel there actually working, and if we reset again, that magic that we see in movements, that very, very enjoyable and stunning to watch. So the movement really is a workhorse movement. It's remained unchanged, perhaps with the exception of the decoration from the original version over 50 years ago in 1963. So you're really getting a watch with quite a lot of heritage to it, considering its price point, with a lot of charm. The casing is entirely polished. There's no brush surfaces whatsoever. Very nicely put together. I have heard some issues about their quality. You've got to bear in mind that it's an extremely complicated watch to make, and at this price, you know, I think it's exceptional. I really do. I struggle to think of a mechanical manual wind chronograph of this complexity at this price range. My obvious turn-offs or kind of negatives are, I'm not a fan of the painted blue hands. I would have preferred it if they would have just, you know, it kind of cheapens it a little bit for me, and the same with the blued, the faux blued screws on the movement. It's a shame because I would have preferred just if they had left it alone or had gold tone hands to match the indices. I think that would have been really, really cool. Having said that, a very minor thing considering just how amazing it is. So anyway, let's do a quick wrist shot. Okay, and there you go on my skinny, tiny little girly wrists. It fits like a charm. It's gorgeous. It is quite tall, but of course it is to house that amazing chronograph movement. It's a really cool little watch, very unique, with a great little history behind it. I love it, very comfortable. I think for the smaller wrist, perfect, and if you want the larger one, you can go for the 42, which it just makes it so versatile for wrists of all sizes. Outstanding. Of course, we don't have any loom, which is a bit of a shame. I guess being very faithful to the original 1960s designs. I just love that red hand, that lovely red hand on the main, on the chronograph. Let's just get a quick measurement of its weight. We've got a nice 62. Oh, yep, 62 grams there. So yeah, very comfortable. Perfect for the smaller wrist. The only last thing I should mention is, of course, it is water resistant to 30 meters, so you're obviously not going to be doing any swimming. Perfectly fine for everyday use. Okay, so in summary, I've got to say I'm very, very impressed, especially being able to buy this at such a price with such a complicated movement. It's a very charming piece. It's very unique. It's got its own character. It's completely original. And with quite a special history behind it. I love the way they've put it on an olive NATO as well, matching the cream. It's just very cool. Yeah, it's an endearing little chronograph. Yeah, it's going to be sad sending this one back. So let's look at something right at the other end of the scale. And this, of course, is the Sinn 103. Now, obviously, the similarities are that it's a chronograph again. This time it's automatic. We've got the typical Valjoux 7750 layout here with the subdials. Stainless steel case, the same as the little Seagull there. But to be honest, those are pretty much the only similarities. Everything else is remarkably different. Now Sinn, if you're unfamiliar with the brand, I've got a huge thing for Sinn. I absolutely adore them. I've owned the 104, of course, which I totally regret selling, but it was a sacrifice I had to make. It's a German company, founded in 1961 in Frankfurt. In fact, the beautiful little manual that you get does go into the history a little bit. We'll take a look at that in just a second. So the first thing you'll notice is this stunning blue. Now this is the 103 ASAB special edition, limited to 500 pieces, which is quite something. The regular version is just black with a black dial and bezel. Now this this watch has had no expense spared. Now we talked about the faux blued screws on the Sinn, on the Seagull, but this has the real thing. And you can really see the quality of the bluing. That beautiful rotor. You got so much going on here with the movement. Got polage work on various layers of the movement, and then Côte de Genève finishing on the bridge and on the rotor. All that blued screws. Gorgeous. Just look at that huge display back, really big sapphire display back. Really goes to the end of the. I haven't seen one this big. It's gorgeous. Obviously, screw down case back. This case is a tall one. Let's get the dimensions out of the way first. We've got a diameter of, I would say it's supposed to be 41 millimeters, but a thickness of, wow, 17 millimeters. That's a tall one, really is tall. Lug to lug, we're looking at 47. Interesting, the little Seagull is only 1 millimeter smaller, almost 48. Lug width, of course, is 20. Everything is pretty much well sized, apart from that really, it's so tall. And that's because of this movement. But of course,
I like that they haven't gone over the top with the diameter. The movement really does fill that space. I mean, it fills it tremendously. Absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, I must stop drooling over the valve. It's only a 7750, but it's done impeccably well, as you can see. So let's look at the dial. We have day-date complication there. 3 sub-dials, minutes for the chronograph at the top, hours at the bottom. Sinn logo there printed. The day-date complication is in a nice negative. Sub-dials are a silver. Looks kind of cream, but it is a silver. And I love how recessed they are, where they play with the light as well. We have got loom on this one. Actually, let's have a look at the loom shot right now. And as you can see, the loom is very bright and responsive, that lovely green. The pip on the bezel is a slightly different colour. It doesn't glow so bright, but I think that's just because the way they've applied it. Very equally spread out. Anyway, back to the studio. Now this, remarkably, is water resistant to 200 meters. You're probably thinking that's quite rare for a chronograph. It is. In fact, the only other chronograph I have that's water resistant is my little flighty, and that has screw-down pushers, and this one does indeed. Some people actually get annoyed by this, but I find it quite endearing. And when they unscrew all the way, they go flush with the tip of the pusher. It's a really nice touch. So let's unscrew them. Let's get that beautiful chronograph working. Let's just engage it. Really nice, solid feeling. I mean, you could watch it. Just pause it a second. Reset. Fantastic movement. I mean, you know, I've had this movement in so many watches. I've had it in Omegas and Hamiltons. Of course, it's in my Navitimer as well. The bezel here is bi-directional. It's actually a pilot's bezel. It's in a countdown, so we have 55 on this side, going down to 0. Beautifully done polishing, all completely high polish, and then brushed on the back. Very well done. The Germans really do excel when it comes to the quality of the polishing and the finish of the watch. It's just remarkable. I've always been so impressed by Sinn. Now it does come on this lovely crocodile pattern strap with a little matching signed buckle. In a moment we'll do the wrist shot. I've got to say it's gorgeous. I love the white stitching, matches it perfectly, although I think it does look quite incredible on the NATO strap, as you see there. I'm probably going to jewel this against the Navitimer, so I'll put it on the NATO for that video. So the movement, obviously it's a Valjoux 7750, which we've featured quite a few times on the channel. Those of you unfamiliar, it beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It's a 42-hour power reserve. Oh, and I must not forget to mention, it does actually have the AR dehumidifying technology built in. So the dehumidifier obviously soaks up any moisture that can get into the case. And then we have a little indicator here. This little indicator just changes color over the years to let you know when you have to replace the capsules inside. In fact, actually there's a really quite helpful explanation. Those are the different colors. As it goes darker, you can see that so there's where it is right now. As it goes dark over the years, and that tells you when the capsule is saturated and needs to be replaced. So very, very cool. This is something that Sinn are amazing at. They have so many cool little bits of technology that they develop themselves. There's old Frankfurt, beautiful old Frankfurt, very modern looking city. Never been myself, but anyway, one day. So a fantastic manual, and I did the unboxing. If you want to see the box and all its glory, check out the unboxing. Back to the Sinn here. That gorgeous radiant blue, it's so rich. It's a lot darker than other blues I have. I think it's darker than the Navitimer. I think we should jewel it, although I'm not sure. Let's just bring in my beautiful little Speedmaster there, so you can just see, look how thick it is compared to the little Speedy. And that's quite a thick Speedy as well, so Yeah, quite interesting. Anyway, we'll leave that there for the moment. Obviously, we have sapphire on the front. It's a very slight dome. Hardly noticed because it runs flush with the bezel that's also angled quite nicely to complement that domed crystal, the sapphire crystal. Let's just unscrew the screw down crown there, which is obviously signed S for Sinn. If we wind it, it's got a really nice winding action, I must admit. It feels even a little bit more refined than the winding in my 750 in the Navi, quite surprising. In the first position, we can change the... Actually, let's pull it out all the way and get the hands out of the way. So obviously we have these syringe style hands with very high contrasting minute and seconds track going around the outside, quite typical German style. It's all about legibility and functionality. Then a little arrow head for the chronograph seconds, and then black plain hands for the minute and hour subdials. So if we put it back to the first position, we can change the day and date, and then the date as well. Beautifully done in negative, just automatic in German. Actually, the day is only in German, so Sonntag, Samstag, Freitag, I forget German, but anyway. Now, if we put it back in, let's just screw it down back in. It's quite a small crown considering beautiful little crown guards. Now, if we move the chronograph, you can see that the hands on the minutes and hours are actually got arrows to help you differentiate between the seconds of the main clock. It's a very subtle but nice little touch. Same lugs on the 104 that I used to own, and I described them as Panzer tank angular lugs, I think is what I said. But that's what it reminds me of. It's got these beautiful angular shape to them and just so functional. I mean, everything about this watch is just so functional. Does everything so well, even the grip of the bezel. The ratcheting on the bidirectional bezel is done to 60 clicks. Let's reset the chronograph. Oh, just look at that, gorgeous. Let's just get a quick weight, and we're looking at 100 grams. Anyway, let's get a quick wrist shot. Okay, there we go. And actually, on my skinny little wrist, it wears remarkably well. Obviously, you wouldn't wear this with a suit or a cuffed shirt because it just would catch on absolutely everything. It is incredibly tall. I mean, just look at that. Just sticks up. That's really its only negative, as well as being so difficult to get a hold of because, wow, it's only 500 pieces. I'm sure the value of these are really going to hold or even go up. If Sinn did a 104 in this color, it would just be to die for. The quality is there. The quality is there for both of them, I have to say. Obviously, there's a difference. You know, you can notice that where those thousands of dollars have gone in the differences in decoration and just general the attention to detail, the standard of finish. It's obvious, but they're both great little watches, they really are. Strap as well, I've got to say, it's extremely solid and well made. Well, you'd expect it really, wouldn't you? You'd expect it. So yeah, the negatives are really only the height and the limited availability of this particular piece, but I'm so glad I got a chance to review it. Thank you again to Troy. What an amazing piece. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let's take it back to the studio. Okay, welcome back, guys. So as you can see, two absolute stunners. I mean, pure class, both in very different ways. Realistically, I'd probably wear this one more just because of its size. It's a shame about that height of the Sinn, but in a way, it's rarity and height are a good thing because it stops me from wanting to buy it. I mean, what I need is another a luxury chronograph, like a hole in the head. So I'm kind of relieved. Subconsciously, I'm a bit relieved. Having said that, I could very easily afford this little, this charming little Seagull. And guys, I don't know if I said in the review, but the
21 zun or zuan, as it says on the dial, actually means 21 joules. Regardless of the price, something that I have to say before we go is the accuracy. I'm getting plus 4 to 6 seconds a day on the little Seagull, and not that much better on the Sinn. Considering there's thousands of dollars between them, it's quite remarkable. It just goes to show the skill of the makers of the Seagull movement. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, amazing to think that you still can get a really good mechanical chronograph like this. Obviously, if I had to choose between them, I'd go for the Sinn. I've got a thing for blue. You guys know that. Ah, yeah, they are absolutely pure class. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm babbling. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd really like to hear your feedback, especially if you own either of these pieces. I'd love to hear back from you guys. So please don't forget to add your opinions, thoughts, queries, questions, all the rest of it down in the comments below. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please don't forget to add that like button if you enjoyed it and found it useful. It really does help me. So please don't forget to hit that like. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.